Hey there, Lit! Welcome to the stream, and thank you for the resub. Okay, let's do a recap for anybody who has just joined. For example, Lit. We are an ambassador to this world of dragons, a human from Earth. We are. We don't get to be a dragon, sadly. There was a deal where we found this portal, but it needed a lot of power in order to run the portal, and the dragons in this world have really good generators, which we will use to keep the portals running. And, we have another human friend here, Reza, who is suspicious of this world for some reason. Like, something is amiss. Something bad is about to go down. And after putting some lemon juice onto a letter, we found out we need to head to the portal at 10 p.m. to meet with Reza and find out what is up. I said, I don't think all the dragons are going to be bad. Obviously not. Some of them are really cute, and I already have an idea of who I might wind up dating if given the opportunity. But something might be amiss here. Well, I mean, the opening of this game did show a dragon who is all bloodied up, so something bad is bound to happen at some point. But let's get to it. Out of curiosity, though, 10 p.m. Does this world also have 24 hours in a day? Anyway, when I got outside, it didn't seem quite as dark as it was when I arrived yesterday. I might have had difficulties finding my way, otherwise, but I could still see the portal in the distance. As I was walking, I wondered if anyone was following me, but the land seemed oddly deserted. Was everyone already asleep? Let's take a look at the scenery real quick. It does remind me somebody was outside my window last night. Not really sure who. There's the portal. Eventually, I arrived at my destination. Reza was already standing idly by the portal, his fidgeting making it obvious that he had waited just for me. I was already wondering whether you'd get to it at all. Hey, you said 10 p.m. Well, you didn't make it easy. What a wonderful night it is. Just look up at the stars. You can see them so clearly here, without all the pollution lingering in the air like back home. Almost as if we were looking right into the face of eternity itself. Random thought. Would we be able to spot the same arrangements of constellations in this sky? If so, that would prove the alternate reality idea. For so long, humanity thought we'd find aliens out there. Yet after all these years, we found we were still alone in the universe. Turns out we were just not looking in the right place. If this is another world, oh boy, I can't imagine where in the universe we might be right now. Imagine if we were in an entirely separate galaxy. I would love that to be possible someday. I mean, I know I won't live long enough to actually get to ride rockets that can travel to other galaxies, but that would be really cool. Like, imagine traveling to a galaxy 1 billion light years away and surviving long enough to enjoy the entire trip. Maddie says, where in the world could we be? Carmen Sandiego slinks past. Oh boy. Good times. What's going on, Reza? Why did you call me here at this time? For one, because we're sending the generator home. Right. Before I was sent here, they told me they would limit the use of the portal as they couldn't afford to keep it open all the time. In order to keep in contact with us and to enable us to send things over to them, the portal would be open for just a quarter of an hour each day. Sending something back home wasn't really problematic for us, since the high energy expenditure associated with sending bigger objects only affected the sender, not the receiver. However, this also meant that until all business was concluded in regards to our trade with the PDAs and the generators, we were basically stuck here. I would like to think that that's not necessarily a bad thing. As for the other, do you know what this place is? He says something about trouble. How much danger are we in, really? More than enough. I'm afraid this whole place will be gone soon. And we better not be here when it happens. I swear, if we're about to be struck by a comet... Just spit it out already. I am definitely going for this option because I am frequently annoyed when video game characters always want to talk vaguely, or they are all, there's no time to tell you now. I mean, I understand the reasoning for that last part, because he was suspicious of being heard, but we're alone. Spit it out while you have the chance. I hoped you'd see it too. But then it took me a while to understand, and I had a head start on you. In any case... While he was speaking, my gaze wandered and fixed on some movement nearby. It was hard to make out anything, but I imagine it might just have been wind blowing through the nearby shrubbery, except for the fact that there was no wind. Reza. This might take a while to explain, but we've got the whole night. Reza, look. He turned around to face whatever I was seeing. He squinted hard before he called out. You! How dare you follow me even here? Is it his, guardian? Back to the being struck by a comet situation, Maddie says, oh no, don't tell me this is prehistory. I could also see that. Not necessarily traveling through another place, but traveling through time. The disturbance came closer until it became clear that it was Maverick, who had hidden nearby to listen in on our conversation. Of course he did. Gosh dang it, I'm not going to learn anything at this rate. I knew you were up to no good. What were you talking about? What are you planning here? Some kind of attack? Wait a minute, there's no reason for... Don't try to deny it. I heard you both talking about it in the cafe, and I saw the letter. You think I couldn't smell the lemon on it? Pathetic. You'll have to come with me to the police station now, both of you. I didn't even get to read that last message, but I read it fast enough to know that I was being interrupted. Reza, what are you doing? Come on, Erika, let's get out of here. On the dragon's side, I could see the wound where the bullet had penetrated his hide. A trickle of blood stained his dark scales and the earth beneath. Reza used the opportunity to run off in some direction. I wasn't sure which. I was hoping I'd have the opportunity to stick around and show that I'm not, you know, going to be evil. Or maybe I still have that option. I frantically scanned my surroundings looking for Reza, though he had already vanished into the darkness. What was I supposed to do? Run away as hell? Well, help Maverick? I was just a diplomat and I had no idea what was happening. I'm not going to get the opportunity to prove anything at this rate. Suddenly, the dragon whipped around, hitting me in the guts with his thick tail. I was lifted off the ground briefly before I felt the impact of my body hitting the ground hard enough that my vision blurred almost immediately. A deafening roar battered my ears. Was this his cry for help? I could barely move, but I found it better not to try, as to not startle the wounded dragon more than he already was. It certainly would have ended badly for me if he tried anything. I heard him take a few unsure steps before he laid down on the ground, panting. I'm still watching you, you know, and you better not move for your own good. If I have to get up again and come after you in this condition, I can promise you I won't be nice. It took a few minutes of listening to his labored breathing before someone arrived. It was 2 dragons. The first I recognized as Sebastian, the other one I didn't know. I heard Sebastian and Maverick exchange a few words when the stocky fellow approached me. Please don't hit me with your tail. Oh, so hello there, Beer Force. Welcome to the stream. If I am remembering correctly, it was Beer Force who gifted me this game so that I can stream it all for you. I can stream it for you all. Hey kid, you alright? I hope that question means that you are willing to listen. I think I'm alright. I'm Bryce, the chief of police in this town. Can you tell me what happened? You bet I can! But let me make your note of your name. Bryce, Brown Dragon, Chief of Police. So there's also 4-legged dragons that don't have wings. So we got wyverns, and winged dragons, no winged dragons, and raptors so far. Now I'm gonna tell the truth because what the heck? Is that so? His face was stern and seemingly lost in thought as I overheard Sebastian's conversation. Maddie points out that winged dragons come in quadrupedal and bipedal forms also. That's true. That cute male dragon. Yeah, but you're the flyer on duty. We probably won't find him now. Not here in the darkness, at any rate. Well, that's just brilliant. What do you think, Chief? Erika, can you walk? Yeah, I think so. Alright. Sebastian, take Erika to the apartment, get us some help here for Maverick. And then we'll look for Reza. Right on. Come on, Erika, I'll help you up. I don't know for certain whether I am free of any accusations here, but at least I know I have a chance to defend myself. I was still shaken up by the events I just witnessed when I arrived at my apartment. Not knowing anything better to do, I soon fell into a deep slumber. Are we about to have a dream sequence? Nope. Also, Maddie says free of accusation maybe, but not free of suspicion. Yeah, I've got my work cut out for me now. Maybe I actually should have kissed Sebastian's hand. The next day, I woke with many questions lingering in my head. I considered calling someone from the police department to ask about Reza and Maverick, but in the end I decided against doing so, as I was sure they would contact me if they had anything to tell me. I knew it was no use worrying about it for now, so I settled for starting another book. Never mind. I didn't take very long, though, before the doorbell rang. Did Bryce, the chief of police, take it upon himself to escort me today? Oh, it's you again. Are you surprised? No, but I guess it'll mean bad news. Afraid so. How are you holding up? Better than yesterday, that's for sure. Let's go for a walk then, shall we? Sure. This time, I was taking along a different route than yesterday, and I was quite sure there was more to this than just taking a walk. I'll just go ahead and guess you didn't find Reza. Yeah, we hoped he would have come back on his own by now. Do you have any idea where he might be? Maybe he mentioned some sort of place in particular that holds some meaning to him? No, not really. We didn't get a chance to talk much at all yesterday before. There's that, too. I have no idea why Reza would have done anything like that. I had the impression that they weren't very fond of each other, but this... How is he, by the way? Oh, Maverick is doing fine, but there is plenty of blame to go around. You're right, they didn't particularly like each other. In his statement, Maverick says he suspected Reza of planning some sort of attack. Do you know anything about that? No, he only told me something was going to happen, not that he was planning anything. At least that was the impression I got. He's suspecting you too, by the way. You both planned this all from the beginning. No, that wouldn't make sense. Actually, none of this is making any sense. Why would we go through all the lengths of our agreement only to jeopardize it by doing something like this? You even already have our PDAs, and we don't have much to show for it yet. If we had any nefarious plans, this wouldn't have been a very good idea. You have a good point. I believe you, but from our side, we only have Maverick's word on the whole matter. After all, he was the one who spent the most time with Reza since he arrived here. But even then, he didn't really have any reason to follow you yesterday, and his behavior was completely out of line. I'm just glad you came out fine. If he wasn't on mandatory sick leave, he would be suspended right now. We'll have to wait until this whole thing is over before we decide what to do with him. I can assure you, this won't be taken lightly. Okay, maybe they both acted in the heat of the moment. Where I come from, this kind of attack on a diplomat would be classified as an act of war, punishable by death. I am not saying that. I hope so. I'm going to try to soften the situation as much as I can. Maybe they both acted in the heat of the moment. Maybe. We still got quite a lot on our hands, though. We have a wounded dragon and a missing human. This could lead to a diplomatic crisis. Maybe Reza will still show up soon, and we can get all of this behind us. I hope so, too. I wouldn't want to jeopardize everything over this unfortunate incident. Yeah, how about we both just keep quiet about this whole thing for now? After all, I don't think any of us wants our people panicking about this already, right? I'm merely not in agreement. So, by the way, Bear Force, congratulations on having a furry coworker, apparently. That's pretty cool. Not sure that I've ever had a furry coworker myself. Probably not. Furry wasn't as popular during the past few jobs that I was at, and the most recent coworkers did not seem that furry to me. That said, furries definitely taking over the world. It's only a matter of time. Eventually, we arrived at the police station, where the chief took my formal statement in regards to yesterday's events. He asked me about Reza and Maverick too. Not that I knew much of anything that preceded yesterday's events, or the mysterious catastrophe Reza had mentioned. but at least I mentioned that. I am not the sort to just hide information like that. Especially when I'm under suspicion. Afterwards, he thanked me and left to file my statement while I sat by his table, waiting and listening to the going-ons of the small provincial town police department. When he returned, he was approached by someone who seemed to have urgent news. A lot of talking between the two ensued that I couldn't make out from my position. This went on for a bit until Bryce returned to me. Afraid I have more bad news for you. Riza has now officially become a murder suspect. Aww. Maverick died. Murder? We're headed to the crime scene and hoped you'd come with us. Or maybe not, Maverick. Crap, is Riza on a killing spree? Me? A crime scene? I don't really know much about forensics. It's just that you're the only link to Riza we have. Consider what he said would happen to us. It's in all of our interests that we find him as soon as possible, and if he has anything to do with it, you might be able to help us find him. Your cooperation would certainly be appreciated, and would be a nice gesture to show us that you're trustworthy in the eyes of those who might think otherwise after what happened yesterday. Will you help us? I will help you. I mean, that's immediately what I want to do, but there's this thought in my head. If a certain other streamer plays this game, I can only imagine that a lot of options we choose are going to be wind up kind of similar. But I'm not going to anticipate different decisions. I'm going to stick with the options that I want to choose. I will help you. I suppose I don't really have much choice here, but you're right. We've got to find Riza, and if that's what it takes, then I'll do it. Very well. Let us go, then. On our way to the crime scene, he tried to prepare me for what would come. I had studied biology, so I was familiar with the sight of dead animals. Asking myself how similar this would be, I wondered if my reaction would be any different if it wasn't a dragon, but a human corpse I would be seeing. As an aside, this character that I'm playing as is very different from myself. I did not take biology in school because the idea of opening the guts of animals, I was not a fan of that idea. I also kind of have this phobia of death. If I ever witnessed somebody dying or a murdered body in real life, that would last me the rest of my life. It's one thing to see a dead relative in a funeral, but watching somebody die especially. I'm not even willing to watch YouTube videos of people dying, like in car crashes and that sort of thing. When it's fictional, that's another thing, but when I'm there, no. Just real quick, I haven't saved this entire adventure yet. Right-click, save. Oh, this game has quick saves. I'll go ahead and save on slot 2 as usual. And good, that has not messed up progression of anything. Like no glitchy text messages, no audio imbalancing, no suddenly it's going to the next page of dialogue before I'm ready. So far, this game seems to be well built. Maddie says, I'm weirdly squeamish, but mostly when it comes to the blood and scent. I can read a mystery, work with fairly fresh meat, but I'm not so good with being where the meat is actually being butchered. I'm fine with fish, though. Oh gosh, you will never see me in a butcher shop. Especially considering, as an alternate persona, I am often a pig. So, no. On our way to the crime scene... Oh wait, we already read that. When we arrived, we were met by Sebastian, who gave us an overview of the whole situation. This morning, the victim was found by a delivery flyer for a restaurant. Blood loss from multiple wounds are the likely cause of death. Forensics was already here, so feel free to poke around. A few paces in front of us, the unfortunate victim lay on the ground, covered by a sheet that concealed the body, but not the large red stain beneath. We approached, while Sebastian went off to deter any curious onlookers. I know it won't be pretty, and I'm sorry for putting you through this, but you know what's at stake here. Just remember what I told you, and you should be fine. Alright. I already forgot. Are you ready? I guess so. That is not covered up. So that's how wyvern wings are. They do have thumbs. Oh, are you ready? As in, the sound that I just heard was him taking the sheet off. What do you think? Well, he's definitely dead. Yeah, rip. Let's just say this will be your test, and tell me what you can deduce from what you see. Give it your best shot. Oh gosh, we're going all Phoenix Wright on this situation. Two wings, two legs, just like the waitress in the cafe. About as big as a human, lengthwise, if not slightly taller. The wingspan would certainly look impressive at that size. I noticed that the wounds were glowing. I am investigating automatically. The wounds are kinda hard to miss. True, but what are they telling you? They were inflicted with a sharp implement. The perpetrator was an unusually large or small person. He was already dead when he got these wounds. It was suicide. How am I supposed to know this stuff? I'd like to see an actual biologist, or possibly a mortician, play this game and see what they are able to figure out. Maddie says these are very clean cuts, so it need to be made with, like, at least a good knife. Let me think here. He was already dead when he got these wounds. Some of the wounds weren't bleeding, but obviously that neck wound, he was not dead yet. I don't think it was suicide because, boy, he certainly did a number on himself, if that were the case. I can't infer whether the person was large or small. So, they were inflicted with a sharp implement. They are clean cuts, like from a knife or another sharp instrument. That is true, but why does this matter? It actually doesn't. Dragons don't use knives. I don't know that. It couldn't have been Reza. It could have only been someone with hands. Well, obviously it's not a suicide. We've already established that. But that is a good point. It would have had to be somebody with hands. That's right. Only those who walk on two legs have the proper dexterity to wield a knife effectively. Most other dragons would probably just bite instead. This is hardly the time to bring this up, but I would be okay with being a dragon that did not necessarily have hands. I want to find out how well I'd be able to live in a modern lifestyle without proper hands. And what sort of accommodations would be made to somebody intelligent enough to use those accommodations without hands? Of course, this rules out most of the bigger dragons and flyers. Beerforce says, I like this bit. If you're not trying to impress Bryce, you can get some funny dialogue if you keep picking suicide. Maddie says, I'd want to be able to manipulate things. I need to be able to hold books, video game controllers. That's true. I said I would try to find some way to play video games with paws. Any game that uses L and R buttons would probably be out of the question, but I could still play Game Boy. But then, Reza still has his... what was it called again? You mean his gun? Yeah. If it was him, why would he kill someone with a knife rather than just use this gun on him? It makes him look cooler? No. He lost his gun. He did not want to make any noise. He wouldn't because it wasn't him. He wouldn't because this was clearly a suicide. I really don't think it was him. There clearly is no reason why he would, so it couldn't have been him at all. I'll have to disagree with you on that. So I still have the same options. I would like to choose an option. What makes you think that? So what do I want to choose instead? I mean, it's not a clear suicide. Maddie says, well, the right answers feel like he either lost it or wanted to avoid noise. True. I'm tempted to say it makes him look cooler, but I can't do that in a situation like this. I gotta take this kind of seriously. So, if this were me, I wouldn't consider the noise possibility. I'd consider maybe he lost his gun. It is possible, but we have already searched the perimeter and didn't find anything. Is there only going to be one correct answer? I don't know, it makes him look cooler? No, just no. Okay. Noise option then, I guess. He did not want to make any noise. After all, he ran away from Maverick, trying to hide from the police. Something as loud as a gunshot would have easily given away his position and alerted others in the area. Right, that could be a good reason. By the way, which wound do you think was the lethal one? The neck, obviously. Maddie says getting the right answers probably increases Bryce's opinion of you, I suppose. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering. I think it was the one on his neck. That's right. If all the blood from it wasn't a giveaway, this is a stab wound, characterized by a rather small footprint. You can tell it's also the deepest one. And from the location, it's pretty obvious this must have done tremendous damage. What else do you see? Well, there's a lot of blood. The blood splatter suggests that he was hemophiliac, he has AIDS, he died here. This isn't blood. He was dragged here after he died, and more suicide options. I'm definitely curious now what happens if you keep choosing suicide. But I'm not gonna choose that. I'm already deep into this without choosing it. I mean, it is blood. I definitely think he died here. Because the blood's spilling out, and this is where it would all split out too. He died here, else there would have been a trail we could follow. The splatters also suggest that this is where they fought. That's true. Unfortunately, it doesn't help with determining who the perpetrator is. Objection! Excuse me? Sorry, I just always wanted to say that. Well, now maybe I should have made the joke. Oh wait, I did make the joke, out of frustration. Go on, please. What about the blood on his muzzle? You tell me. The blood on his muzzle suggests that he has gum disease, bit his tongue during the fight. I hope not. Had a bloody stake earlier. He fought back. He is a vampire. I'm betting he fought back. It might be the perpetrator's blood. Yes, that is true. I expect forensics already took a sample of it, so it might actually help us determine who the perpetrator is. Well, I know we got my blood sample earlier. I wonder if they got Ray's blood sample. I'm under the impression not. Hopefully my blood sample wasn't used for a cloning process, and it was my clone that did the killing. I think that's about everything. For someone who says they haven't done this kind of thing before, that wasn't actually too bad. I know some recruits who did a lot worse during their first time, for sure. Hey Chief, do you still need the witness here for anything? Sebastian approached with the dragon who had discovered the body earlier. I recognize her as Aideen, the waitress from the cafe. She seemed distraught, which given the situation, wasn't very surprising. I don't think so. Take her to the department, get her statement written up, and that should be it. Sure thing! Alright, miss, we're going to have to take you to the department. Of course. When she spotted me, however, her composure brightened visibly. Oh, it's a human! Well, I'm a human. I have a name, you know. Go away. No, I'm not saying that! I'm not going to worry about the name because I'm bad with names as well. Well, I'm a human. Well, I'd call you by your name, but you never actually told me it. Oh yeah, I suppose I didn't. It's Erika. I would give you my full name, but a human named Fuzzbottom is a little bit not as cute as a furry named Fuzzbottom. Like, seriously, one time I joined a chat room, and it was not a furry chat room, but the mods took issue with me. There was also this one time that I was in therapy, and my therapist likewise took issue with the name. Anyway, what are you even doing here? Do you work for our police now? Guess so, or looks like it. It's not just a hobby. Definitely not a hobby. Guess so. That doesn't sound very convincing. I'm not quite convinced either. By the way, I didn't know you also did deliveries. I do a little bit of everything, really. That's nice. I liked my, fish yesterday. Okay, this definitely isn't me. I have a real difficult issue lying. I mean, I'll try holding the truth. Like, how'd you like the fish? And I'd be all like, You don't have to hide it. I know it's an acquired taste. To be fair, I wouldn't have recommended it to someone new like you, but you could always try something different. This is true. I do like trying new things. As long as I don't look gross. You will never get me to try liver. Here's our number if you don't want to come in, and we'll deliver anything we have to you. Thanks. I'm getting a bunch of phone numbers. Sorry, I guess we should get going. Bye! What do we do now? I suppose we'll head off too, unless... Oh no. What is it? Hi, Maverick. Nice to know you aren't dead. We've got a violent homicide, and of course nobody from the department tells me. I had to find out from a neighbor who wanted to ask me about it. Good thing rumors travel fast, eh? Of course nobody told you. You're on sick leave. Mandatory sick leave, I might add. I'm not here in any official capacity, you see. I am merely enjoying a curative walk in the fresh air and happened to come across you by accident. What do you want? I don't want anything. I just find it interesting that no one tells me about this, but the prime suspect's buddy can mess with the investigation. I see how it is. I know what you are thinking, but don't jump to conclusions here. I don't need to jump to conclusions. I think the dead body we found says it all. You really have an attitude problem. You know, if you weren't on sick leave, you'd be suspended right now for attacking Erika yesterday. Do you even have any idea what kind of repercussions this could have on us all? Me attack Erika? As far as I can see, I'm the only one who's injured here. Besides, I'm so sorry for apparently being the only one who's doing his dang job. Right, let's just all sit idly by while the suspect's on the loose and planning his next move. You know, whatever it was Reza was talking about, he was going to tell me just before you showed up yesterday. I don't need to hear you, of all people, belittling me about this. What's your problem? If anything, I want to find him just as much as you do. Don't compare yourself to me. Your words mean nothing. Enough. You shouldn't even be here, so you better go now and get some rest before I have to take disciplinary action. Fine, but when we find him, you'll see I was right. If I have to prove it myself, so be it. I hope he doesn't go planting evidence. Can he even just do his own investigation like that? Well, as long as he doesn't interfere with us, we can't really stop him from doing things on his own free time. I see. I suspect he won't adhere to the standards of performing an unbiased investigation, though. Medi says he seems too hot-headed to plant evidence. I'm more concerned that hot-headedness will be motivation to plant evidence so that he can prove himself right. Anyway, he has already made up his mind. It's clear to me he won't be looking for facts, just for evidence to support his own view in order to prove it to us or himself. Who knows? Yeah, that's pretty much my concern. He's always been like that. Always something to prove. We'll have to be careful. He'll be looking for Reza soon enough. Hopefully he doesn't, find me alone with Reza and he jumps to conclusions. Medi says he's a maverick, a loose cannon. He's not gonna look for evidence just for Reza. I suppose that's true. At least that means someone will find him, right? Don't worry, Reza will turn up eventually. I surely hope so. All things considered, I have to admit that it remained a possibility that Maverick was right, but could the Reza I knew really be a murderer? You know what? If you think of something that might help with the investigation, I just remember there's a way to backtrack through messages. Let me try that out after I save real quick, and see how far it can go. Is it page up? There was some other button. Oh right, mouse click. The middle wheel mouse click. No, I'm not doing that. I don't trust my mouse wheel. It's finicky sometimes. I can even go back through choices. No, it's a straight up rewind button. Huh. I suppose that could be handy. All things considered, I had to admit that it remained a possibility that Maverick was right. But could the Reza I knew really be a murderer? You know what? If you think of something that might help with the investigation, or if you need anything else, just call me. I will. Well, I think we're done here. Let's go. Okay, new scene. Which means it's quitting time. Boy, it really makes me wonder about the situation. What was Reza paranoid about? He's not a murderer. He just freaked out about Maverick, thinking that Maverick was about to bust him for discovering the truth, I guess? But of course that brings into question, what is the truth that Reza knows about, hypothetically? Kinda sucks. I was actually possibly gonna get an answer, and then Maverick showed up. That is definitely a bummer, so now we're definitely left in the dark. If it's not clear, I have never played this game before, I have never watched anybody play this game before. This is completely blind. I'm definitely concerned that somebody I've talked with, though, is somebody I shouldn't be trusting. Well, at the very least, I can trust Lorem. He is adorable. Maybe I'll give him a call sometime. But that'll come later. For now, we are done for today. If you've enjoyed today's stream, I stream this every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. With that said, is there anybody I'm following that I can send a raid to? Nope, nobody I am following is streaming, so I will simply say thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.